Hello, friends and family. Welcome back to another live stream by yours truly. As always, I am here to answer any questions and talk about whatever. Obviously, being the channel that it is, banking related, career related, life related is great, but I am happy to answer any questions on the side. Let me know if the camera/mic is doing okay. And hopefully this chat feature is working because last week it didn't work very well. But I am seeing a couple of chats and I'm going to have a backup of it on my phone just in case. But to start off, Utkarsh Sharma asks, hey, Bryan, what kind of work can one expect while being in debt capital markets? So DCM of a bulge bracket investment bank based in Milan. Very specific. DCM at a BB in Milan. Number one, I know nothing about Milan. I know very little about DCM in general. But my assumption, based on the bank that I have worked on before that have had various product groups, different verticals, it seems like analyst level work in most ventures is pretty damn similar. I think it doesn't really matter what group you have. You're going to be scraping data. You're going to be doing a lot of the grunt work regardless of what group you're in. But I don't know about DCM at BB in Milan specifically. Richard G asks, you mentioned there was an ultimate sexy side of IB in research. I don't recall saying that. Maybe I said it wrong. I think I always say that the sexiest side of IB is M&A, but that's just me being biased because I did M&A. I don't think research was ever sexy. Hopefully I'm not misquoting myself. Did you ever try any Indian food in the US? Yes, I love Indian food. Big fan of Indian food, big fan of spicy food in general. I love spicy food. I don't know if I'm good with spicy food per se, but I really, really like spicy food. The spiciest Indian food I've ever had, ironically, is in Scotland. They have a lot of good Indian food. There's a place called Mother India in Edinburgh that was really good. My go-to Indian food menu would be the chicken vindaloo. That's probably my go-to. I love the combination of potatoes and spicy chicken. LFG, yes, let's go. What are your thoughts on Notre Dame for finance? Notre Dame's great. I had a lot of peers from Notre Dame, especially just because I worked at a Midwest bank. Notre Dame was a target school for my bank. Some of my closest friends at my bank were from Notre Dame. They're very sharp guys, very hardworking. Just great culture, great group of people in general. John Joe, hey, Bryan, hey. I'm starting at Jefferies, New York City full-time in a couple of weeks and have wanted your thoughts on group placement. I've been getting calls from different groups and wondered which I should avoid. I don't know about Jefferies specifically. I hope that during these calls you're networking actively and thinking about what they're doing. At an analyst level, I wouldn't think too heavily on the product. And to your point, I would focus more about people and get a vibe over the phone. Like, are these people, do they seem chill? Do they seem like the types of people that would hit me up at 3 a.m. with ridiculous tasks? I think you can get a pretty good sense over a phone call. Hey, Bryan, just wanted to hop in and say, I hope your week is going well. It's doing great. I'm prepping for case interviews and networking through the summer for full time. Any networking tips? I always say go in with I don't want to say open mindset, but don't go in with this mindset of like, I need to impress this person so that they refer me. Every party involved, you, the person that you're calling, everyone knows what's going on. Like, they know that you're in it to get a referral. They know that you're in it to get a referral. Treat it like a conversation. Act like you're talking to one of your best friends about their new cool job and ask them questions that you actually want to know answers to. And then I would take notes on important points that you can use in interview settings later on. Is he live yet? I am live. I hope my answers are going through. Is my stream not going through? That'd be awkward. Can someone confirm that my talk is going live? Just say yes or no in terms of whether my mic is working. Also, I have to take the SIE on Friday. How well do you think I should do on the SEC not meant to be confident in it? After Notman, I was pretty damn confident. I think it's almost impossible to fail it if you're going through the Notman course. You're live, son. Yes. Okay. Thank you. You ever thought about opening up your own business and perhaps private equity fund of your own? Definitely not a PE fund. I don't think my skill set lines with opening up a PE fund per se, but I'm definitely always actively thinking about what ventures I could start on my own. There are a couple of things that I'm working on with my friends on the side. But I think right now is time for me to make some money on a stable job and learn skill sets at my position. So I am in the prep phase. You should aim for deal flow. Yep, deal flow is important. Thoughts on UMD for finance? Sean, unfortunately, I have no idea what UMD is. Thoughts on NYU Stern as an undergrad school of finance? NYU Stern, definitely a target school. I have many, many peers from NYU Stern that have gone into banking and have had no problems. What was your SAT, ACT score? Any study tips? I've never taken the SAT, ACT. I got a 35. You just got to do the practice tests and get familiar. Standardized tests at the end of the day are repeated formats of the same thing with different content. So I think it's just practice, and learning the tips and tricks that are involved with the various questions. For those of you joining now, I am, as always, answering any questions on the side. I'm trying to shy away from awfully specific questions that I get a lot, like, how do I do this for this bank in this region? The only reason being is not me trying to be a bad person, but I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of every bank. So I would like general questions or more specific personal questions. Happy to answer them, but questions that pertain to specific roles at different banks, I'm just not sure of it. I'm going to go through every question one by one, but if you have a dying question and I'm for some reason not getting to it, feel free to send 1 cent super chat or whatever to get to the top. But I'm going through every single question. Just got an offer for equity research in New York City. I'm from the Midwest and have never been to a bigger city. Any tips for getting started? The bank itself is a good starting point for socialization. Bankers are always social. I would try to join groups like Nextdoor, which is an application. Maybe join like a sports league. New York City, I heard, has a lot of like pickup soccer, pickleball. Try to get involved in some way. That's what I did. I went to Chicago, which is a pretty big city, and I've never been in the Midwest before, so I think that helped yet. Is Brian live yet? I am live. Screw up a lot of grades in uni. Any advice on what to do? I think there are ways to cover for that. I will say the unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of people that are now qualified, good at networking, and they have good grades. So you're really going to have to make up for it in one way or another. I will say try to see if your major GPA is any better than your regular GPA, so you can put that on your resume. And 2, I've never been asked for a transcript at any of my jobs, so perhaps you can kind of get away with it. Do you have any experience with government accounting? I do not. Why don't you think you have the skill set to open up a PE fund? Maybe skill set's not the right word. I have no interest in opening up a PE fund. I think the PE market is overly saturated, and there are far more individuals with far more resources and money that will do better than me. I have to do what I got to do. Opa, what are your thoughts on BB? BB bulge brackets are bulge brackets. They're good name brands. Everyone wants to go into them. How can you enter private equity and venture capitalists through asset management? It's a slightly different skill set, I would say. Asset management's more on the salesy side, and you're helping your clients manage money, whereas venture capital and private equity is buy side, and you're managing your own funds money to grow it. I have never seen someone that goes from asset management to the buy side in that way, but I'm sure it's possible. Hey, Brian, new fan. Oh, thanks for joining, Nicholas. Quick question. How important is accounting rather than finance general in IB? Ironically, I would say having a strong accounting background does help a lot, especially in terms of diligence and understanding financial statements at a general understanding. But the level of understanding you need in accounting, you can learn on the job. I think tax knowledge is very important. That's something that I think the one tax class I took during college helped a lot. And if you understand tax, yes, you'll have third parties helping you during due diligence, but I think having that tax knowledge is very, very helpful. Brian, the prompt is ask me anything. So here it goes. Yeah, ask me anything. What was it like to come out to your parents, and did you really quit IB because of the amount of sexy dudes overwhelmed you? Also, this is a joke. Haha. I don't know if that was a joke. I don't know if that was funny, but sure. Hey, been interested in your channel recently. Great. I'm a data analyst and a retailer. I make videos and analytics, so it's cool to see another YouTuber talking about their profession. Great. Also, are you a big reader? I am a huge reader. I'm actually here. I have a book right now. I'm reading this, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which talks about statistics and our confidence biases. And then as a man of faith, I read this every day. My utmost for his highest, which is a daily devotional book. I love finance and tech, but I have no clue what I want to do. Same. Thoughts on, do you think AMC will pop? Dude, AMC through the charts today, 100% return. I have a friend that's, I think, up like 1,500% cashed out today. I am just not one for meme stocks. I'm too risk averse to do that kind of stuff, but if you can do it, like, why not? Like, people are just cashing out, and sometimes you see stuff like that and you're like, what am I doing at my 9 to 5? I should have just retired by doing this. But like, it's all luck, you know. Thoughts on becoming an FP&A? Sounds boring to me personally. Have you heard of any CFAs that are from tech? No, I don't know any CFAs that are from tech. BB BlackBerry. I've never had a BlackBerry. I know they're going to like cybersecurity and repositioning. I think they're going to do well, actually. I think that's a meme. Is BlackBerry public? That might be a meme stock to buy. Opinion on day trading. I have a lot of friends that are doing day trading, many of them doing very terribly, some of them doing very well. I heard it's a very emotionless, or it should be an emotional task that you put a lot of emotion to, which screws you over ultimately. I'd be careful. How are you consistent on YouTube while having a full-time job? One sentence answer for you. I have no hobbies. Is Williams College good for Wall Street? I'm looking at a couple of good schools. U Chicago, Williams. I'd go to U Chicago if you can. Williams is a phenomenal college, top liberal arts school, but I don't know if it's known for banking per se. Great book. Yep, agreed. P and VC is also managing other people's money technically through funds. Sure, indirectly, but I think you're not directly talking to clients on a daily basis and them wondering what's happening with their money. There's a lot more autonomy. Do you ever do derivative trading? I am not smart enough for derivative trading. I kind of know what it is, but I've never touched it. Did you answer my question on spicy food? I did. I love spicy foods. And my favorite Indian dish is chicken vindaloo. What side hustle do you think has the biggest upside? E-commerce, YouTube, or I'd say like biggest upside is YouTube, right? I mean, e-commerce at a one-man shop can't only do much, like too much. Like if you become the next Logan Paul, you're going to rake in millions. If you become the next Ryan's World, you're going to make 26 million. DCMHB, what would work look like? I know nothing about DCM specifically. Sorry. Thoughts on careers in VC? VC is cool. I think it's booming. It's always been up and coming. It's really hard to get into because they don't recruit directly much. That's not on some kind of recruiter list. It's not on LinkedIn. They don't require as many analysts. So it's more about networking and somehow making your way into the door. But I've heard it's great positions, and I've definitely highly considered it after jumping into the stealth startup world. Any tips on gaining to ability to enjoy reading? I find reading for long periods of time to be miserable. Great question. Reading is this weird thing. Everyone says, every successful person is like, reading makes you successful. Read. Reading sucks, especially in the beginning. I will say I kind of have a leg up because I've always enjoyed reading. I love reading to begin with. And as someone that's not really into video games, that's not particularly athletic, just very openly as a nerd, reading has always been a hobby. I think I took a pause from it since high school, kind of got back into college, didn't get and got back out of it during IB. And then now that I have time, I'm back into banking or back into reading. What I do basically is whenever I feel the need to like go on YouTube or like waste time on Instagram, I pick up a book. And I think it's a built skill. If you do it for a while, it becomes less hard and less boring. What's the most important thing to keep in mind and focus on for a non-target sophomore wanting to break into IB or at least eventually? I would say network and don't be discouraged by people not responding to you. How much you think your day trading friends could be making? Probably not much. Not many. Most of them are not doing very well. Were you really good at financial modeling Excel before joining IB? I was not good at financial modeling. I was decent in Excel, but not like above the average college student. I did learn on the job. Rate your professionally in Excel on a scale of 1 to 10, over 5,000. Can you use Excel without the mouse? I can. Shortcuts is the way to go. How early did you start networking when you got into college? I think almost immediately. Like my school was very big on networking. There were always ample networking opportunities. I think I inherently liked networking. And if we're talking about networking as talking to someone about what they're doing and becoming a part of their network, probably day one, right? Like your colleagues, your peers down the hall are parts of your network, and they might be of help in the future. So I think right away. I'm pretty sure your mic doesn't work, by the way. Like when you move away from the computer, you sound quieter, and when you close to your computer, you're way louder. Oh, that's not good. I guess I screwed up. I think I didn't connect the camera or the mic properly to the thingy, but I don't know if I could. I don't think I could fix it anymore. So I'll just talk into the computer for now. Thanks for letting me know. What do you think is the most important in life? Wow. What is the most important in life? I think fulfillment and happiness would be a cop-out answer. I think the ability to find happiness in small everyday activities. Watch the movie Soul by Pixar. They do a very good job of explaining that. Citadel, Millennium, 2 Sigma, D, Shaw, considered top. Yep, quant. Is the IB path dead 10 years out? Yeah, I guess if you're a VP director, there's no way you're going to get into a hedge fund. How would you even start to apply for IB? Like, where would you find the job openings? Not a dumb question. Typically, they hire directly out of school, so your school hiring websites have them. And then if they don't have them, then go on LinkedIn. But that's probably your best bet. Sounds fine. Now we hear you. Yeah, that's great to hear. How does it feel being YouTube famous? Oh, Nicholas Watson, my dude. I'm not YouTube famous. Nick was a resident on the hall across from me when I was in RA senior year. Are middle office equity research good enough experience to later join IB post MBA? I'm not sure. And Karsh, I'm sorry. I think you're asking a lot of specific questions that I frankly just don't have the answers to. Yeah, everything sounds fine. Thank you. What are your thoughts on IQ tests? So I've heard so many mixed things. Like IQ is not a measure of whatever. IQ is a measure of potential. It's not a measure of actual how smart you are, blah, blah, blah. I would argue that there's a correlation between how smart you are with IQ, but you can be born with all the potential in the world, but if you never tap into it, are you genuinely smart/talented? That's a different question. I think we are entering this world where EQ is as important as IQ. Those are my thoughts on IQ. I don't know about IQ tests specifically. I haven't taken one in a while. Post-grad and even to now, do you ever feel genuinely lost? So it's not even post-grad even to now, but I would say I felt genuinely lost for the past 10 years of my life. I continuously feel genuinely lost. I feel genuinely lost as I'm doing the stream. Yes, you sound perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Is it possible to do tech, then MBA, then IB? Yep, I've seen, I don't know if I've seen people do tech, then MBA, and IB. It's usually IB, then MBA, then tech. I don't know why you would go into IB after doing tech, after MBA. How many hours did you sleep on average? Did your hours truly adjust? Yes, it does adjust. And nowadays I'm still getting, I would say 6-ish hours to sleep. I go to sleep around 12 and I wake up at 6. It does adjust. Maybe it's not the healthiest thing to do, but I think as an adult, like 20-year-old young person, 6 hours isn't bad. Is asset management good? I don't know many people in asset management. I just get the vibe it's more of a salesy role. If you're good at understanding products and good with, maintaining a professional services, adhering to your clients, sure. But I don't know if it has many exit opportunities. If you could control what people on here asked you, what would be the preferred topic? As a conceited, arrogant individual, questions about myself, and preferably not questions about banking, but that's what this channel got famous off of. So I should adhere to the audience's needs. Master's in finance or MBA? Always go with MBA for me. How hard is it to land a full-time offer if you have a solid bank your junior year? John, I'm not trying to be mean, but how hard is it to land a full-time offer? I mean, if you have a solid bank, obviously your chances of landing a full-time job is high. Advice for internships, like how early should I try to get one? If you can, obviously the best advice is get one after every summer during college. That's what I did. Post-corona, what are you most excited for? Not wearing masks on airplanes. Do you think investment banking is still worth pursuing, or is it dying out? That's a fun question. I don't think it'll ever die out. There's just too much money in the field. When there's big money supporting something, it will never die. Will talent shift to something else? Probably. But I think it still remains the most low barrier to entry in terms of skill set right out of undergrad, high income thing to do, which are very, very highly sought out things in the job atmosphere. How'd you balance working out, social life, and your job? For IB, I didn't really. I forcefully took some time aside and said, you know what, at the end of the day, this is more important than me turning these PowerPoint comments, but it was very hard to. I tend to not be very entrepreneurial. Is IB not the right career? Being entrepreneur has nothing to do with being an IB. I think that's a big misconception. It's more about being able to manage clients and grind things out. What do you think about women in banking? Women in banking is great. Many of my peers who are women in banking were some of the top bankers. How do I feel about like women programs? I'm not sure. I think you should take advantage of them, but like forcefully slash like bringing in candidates just because they're a woman, like I think that almost is like the definition of sexism and probably not what women want. Like women want to be hired because they're qualified, not because they're a woman. But obviously take advantage of it if you can do it. Are there any careers in finance that have good work-life balance? Depends what you mean by work-life balance, but ultimately, I heard like VC is pretty decent, but you need to do IB at some level to get there. When was the last time you cried? Wow. It's been a while. Actually, I think a couple weeks back, I watched this like emotional video on YouTube about like dads and like not being good to your dad, and you should be good to your dad. Probably like 2 weeks ago. Why do you think majority of businesses and banks prefer Office 365 to Google Suite? Because it's better software. It's far more sophisticated. Other than like the, of course, I'm forgetting the word, but collaborative aspects. I think Microsoft Office is way ahead of Google Suite still. Any tips for S&T for full time? Make sure you don't get pigeonholed. I heard if you get niched into S&T, it's very, very hard to get out because it's such a tight skill set. Is MBA better than MS in finance? Yes, it is. It is. To someone's recommendation last week, I should just release a video or something saying like, these are the questions I've answered 1,000 times. Please say hi to my sister Adoro. Hi, Sister Adoro. Wow, there's so many questions. Guys, thanks for joining. Once again, I'm answering every question on the side. If you guys have any dying questions, just send them to the top using Super Chat, but no need to because I'm just going to answer every single question. If not finance, what would you be doing? I'm not in finance. I'm working for a startup. Do you enjoy your time at IB? I'm not at IB anymore, but I did enjoy it in the sense that I would do it again if I went back in time. As a grade 10 in Canada, what are some steps I can take? I'm not even going to preface these things anymore. Just Sean, if you're grade 10 in Canada, don't think about jobs, don't think about finance. Enjoy your life, enjoy high school, try hard in your grades. Party culture in IB. There's a lot of like happy hour events that people walk in and out of and bring their computers to because there's so much work. But like, there's pretty high ballers. It's work hard, play hard for sure. I guess my question was talking more about wanting to be at IB full time, but the summer, BB, I'm working at a solid MM. Yeah, I would try your hardest at the MM, make sure you get quality experience. And then if you really, really want to jump to BB, network throughout, I guess without getting caught. But I would highly recommend you just try your hardest in what's given and don't be so addicted to the future. Any tips for the Canadian market? Comments, views. I know nothing about the Canadian market. I do know that the IB process is a little different there, but I don't know much about the market itself. I recently got an associate role at PwC. What should I look out for to transition to IB in the future? I would recommend an MBA, but if you really want to, you could definitely try. I would network and gain somewhat of a finance / advisory skill set. Accounts equity. Hello? Hello. Sorry, guys. I've had so many various meetings all day. My voice is not doing great, but let's keep going. Any show recommendations? Queen's Gambit, Netflix, bomb. I haven't watched it yet, but on my list is Succession. Billions is phenomenal. Of course, now I'm talking about all these banking company related shows. Big Grey's Anatomy seasons 1 through 3 guy. Thanks, Brian. I realize you want to switch your channel away from banking, so I appreciate you putting up with these questions for everyone. Hi, yeah. No, I'm being hypocritical. Like I still feed out banking videos to test the waters and keep the ad revenue going, but it's really hard to beat the YouTube algorithm. I mean, at the end of the day, who am I? You guys subscribe for banking / finance content, so I gotta give the audience what it wants. No apologies needed. I think the only concern I have is one, questions that fish for affirmations, like questions you already have the answers to. You just want to hear me say it. And two, questions I've answered like 1,000 times, but not everyone's on these things all the time. So Do you think finance degrees will still be worth pursuing in the future? Yeah, I think it's still tangible, and I think there's a lot of use cases for it. What games do you play? I'm very bad at video games. The only video game I actively play is Tetris. What is one IB technical question most candidates get wrong? Of the general questions, you shouldn't get any of them wrong. The basis understanding is that they're prerequisites. Do you think a high school student with 3.0 GPA can have a good career in finance? Your high school GPA does not matter, but it does matter for getting into college, which does matter for getting into finance. Any advice for freshmen, sophomores with no relevant experience? Try to get relevant experience junior year, but you could spin anything into a good story. Do you believe in aliens? I do not. Don't you think that because capitalism is decaying in this generation, IB will look different in the future, Sarah? I don't think capitalism is decaying at all. If anything, I think we're understanding it a different way, but I think, if anything, people are addicted to capitalism. Tips for insomnia. I've never had insomnia, but don't stare at blue light. Don't look at your phone. Do you think IB was worth it? Yes, I would do it again every single time if I went back. What do you think about hedge funds changing recruiting to sophomore summer rather than that? That's crazy. I would take full advantage of it, and why not go directly to the buy side if you could? If a bulge bracket offered you right now, would you take it? Why or why not? Right now, no. I think there's a lot for me to be learned at my current position, and I think I'm open to going to banking like in the future if that's what I'm called to do. But right now, I don't think it's for me. Just Sean, go to an entire target school and join the student fund clubs. Sure. What was the biggest challenge that you overcame when an IB? I think stress management. What's your favorite aspect of working for a startup? What is your dream job in terms of fulfillment? My favorite aspect about working for a startup is the various roles that I get to touch, the various jobs I get to do that I can't do at other more cornered in positions. My dream job in terms of fulfillment would either be a youth pastor or a restaurant owner. I want one day to own my own PE fund. Anything you think that might prevent that? If your ability to raise funds / have your own fund / money. I'm about to start my first week at an SA role at a very similar firm to Lincoln. How do I hit the ground running so I don't look like a dumbass? Nick, you know the answer to the question better than I do. Ask a lot of questions, be communicative, be active in the efforts that you put in. You're going to do great, Nick. I know you personally. I think you have the mentality and the personality for it. But as I told you before, on that one phone call we had, I think you're too smart for IB, but try your best, my dude. Saib, hello. Hi. Thoughts on middle MFPE right out of undergrad? Have an offer, non target. Take it. Why not? Have you watched Industry? I have not. I should get the tattooed on my forehead. I have never watched Industry. I don't plan on doing so. Should I do MBA after my first job, depending on what it is? Or should I go into MBA right out of undergrad? I don't recommend MBA right out of undergrad. A lot of people just do it after 4 to 5 years, maybe 6 years of working. What do you find more concerning, growing income inequality or abject poverty? These are the questions we should be asking. What I find concerning is the great diversion of wealth, not in just like inequality, but how many people are striking it rich without effort and what that's making people that put in effort feel like. There are definitely people that have worked their butt off for 40 years and then they see these like Dogecoin millionaires, to no one's fault. And I think that's going to create a very, very unsatisfied, sad society filled with people that are filled with what ifs and feeling miserable. That's what I fear. Hi, how tall are you? I am 5'11". Brian, I love you. How do you think a liberal arts education differs from a traditional college education? I think liberal arts allows you to take a wide variety of classes. It allows you to partake in conversations, active conversations, and even immerse yourself in discussions with peers you may disagree with. I think the small class sizes are phenomenal. I'm a big liberal arts fan. Definitely drank the Kool-Aid, and in a bad way, not a bad way, but I think liberal arts is far more superior than traditional college education. Do you want to team up and disrupt IB? I do not. Do you recommend a career in a tech startup right out of school? I don't know. I think tech startups kind of throw you in the deep end. and you need some level of professional experience to handle that deep end. So I would not recommend that. Favorite car, make, and model? I don't really know much about cars. I would say I really like the car that I have now, which is the Fiat Spider. And then I'm looking to get a Tesla Cybertruck. So those two things. But capitalism is reaching its peak, don't you think? So if it's reaching its peak, what economic changes do you see in the future? Removal of generational wealth, universal living wages? I don't know what you mean by capitalism reaching its peak. I don't think there's like a market cap for capitalism. I think people are addicted to capitalism. I think people are in love with money, and there's so many different ways to make money now that even people that weren't actively subscribing to capitalism before are now very much about capitalism and beating their way out of poverty through wealth generation. Best major minor combo for IB, there is none. The traditional ones are probably finance and accounting, but I've seen all sorts of backgrounds. Is it true that PE is not much different from IB? Yes, that's what I've heard from most of my peers. Coping with stress from upper management, printing out a picture of them and yelling at it. I think just understanding that at the end of the day, they're just people and they're just trying to make money and they're just trying to do their job and not to take things personally. And if there's someone being personally mean to you and going out of their way to mean to you, tell HR, get them fired. Do you think MBA is worth it if you have a decent job out of undergrad? It depends. If you're trying to make a role shift, I would definitely do so. But I would give it some time. When do you plan to retire? Tomorrow. I would like to retire before 40, like everyone in this generation, but I don't know how feasible that is. I don't inherently really like work, but I think the plan is 40, most likely 60, ideally tomorrow. BTS or Dua Lipa or Selena Gomez? Which singer band do you prefer? I don't really like Dua Lipa very well. Selena Gomez, she's famous, but I don't want to say her music is great. BTS is good. BTS is phenomenal. As a phenomenon, they're phenomenal. And their most recent music is actually pretty good. What is your religion? I am Christian with Presbyterian as my denomination. What in IB needs innovation? Not much in IB needs innovation. People don't really like to be innovative in IB. Should someone that wants to have a marketing job go to a liberal arts college? Yeah, I know a lot of people in marketing that have done well out of liberal arts. There's someone from my school actually that is leading Adidas marketing through liberal arts. And I think liberal arts allows you to look at things from various angles. And I think that really is a valuable skill that you need in marketing. And that's something you can get from liberal arts specifically. What are your thoughts on government printing too much money and the concern of higher inflation? Yeah, it's unbelievable right now. And there's so much money in so many different people's hands, and with Biden bucks and Trump bucks. And I know people personally that are living off EID and unemployment wages. And trust me, they are not using it in essential needs. They are, a lot of them are gambling. A lot of them are buying new iPhones. And sure, that is in a way contributing to society, but it is very alarming. And it seems like no one is really directly addressing it because it's taboo to talk about in today's government setting. Thoughts on AI and the future of jobs? I think AI is a buzzword, and I think there's still a lot of jobs that AI will never take over. And I think everyone knows what AI is about, or says that they do, but in reality, no company's doing it correctly. Bryan, you have no hobbies, which is perfectly fine, but if you could pursue any hobby you wanted, regardless of inherent skill set, what would you go for? I do like drawing a lot. I also like music. So if I had an unbelievable skill set, I would love to play guitar or take up painting again. I did when I was young. Do you think BMW and luxury cars are dying in the car industry? I read many articles that it's no longer a brand people aspire to as before. It is now Tesla. I fundamentally disagree. I think, if anything, there's going to be a large gap and the middle rung of cars will disappear and everyone's going to go for the luxuries or the lower Civics, and then Tesla will just have its own niche circle. What was the hourly age for a starting banker? Sorry, you probably get this question a lot. We're not hourly; it's by salary. And first-year analysts start at $85,000 to $90,000. Where do you usually spend your money on? Do you just put them in your savings account? Haha. Most of my money goes to food. I'm a big foodie. Some of it goes to travel, especially when I'm doing like a big travel week. And then, yeah, I'd say money and travel is probably like 100%. Brian, regardless of what the Japanese say, are Koreans really the superior Asian race? I'm not going to make a racist comment. I'm Korean. I love being Korean, but would you be open for an interview for a finance podcast? If so, where can I reach you? Thanks in advance. Yeah, I'd love to be on a podcast. I'm thinking about starting my own podcast, but I'd love to join Quant Leader, whatever podcast you're in. I have an email on my channel linked. It's chat with Bryan Jun at gmail.com. It's on my channel. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, DM also works, but love to be on a podcast. Nice. Adidas is so cool. What did your friend major in? Oh, it's not really a friend. It's an alumni of mine. I forget. I think she was like a German philosophy major. Do you think you will invest in real estate properties? Yeah, I think I'm going to definitely look into buying property soon. Could you enter IB with a comm major? I don't know anyone doing that, but I'm sure it's possible, but I'm sure it's difficult. I'm an accountant for textile manufacturing. How hard is it to transition? Probably pretty damn hard. I would recommend an MBA. Casby, Jason Wang. Hi, Brian. Hello. Do you have any advice on how to break into consulting from Audited Public Accounting? Yeah, you're definitely not making compensation comparison. I've seen people do it, mostly through networking and trying to argue that professional services is professional services. I would highly advise you to take the MBA route if possible. How much knowledge did you have on financials before college? Before college, zero. Knew almost nothing. Quant Leader, yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be on a podcast. Where do you want your next travel destination to be? I really want to go to Korea, but there's the 2-week quarantine. That's just not worth the trouble. And I don't have PTO like that. I am going to New York in September probably and going back to school in October. But I traveled too much in May, and I think I need my bank account needs some rest. Play me in chess. I am very bad. Actually, I'm decent at chess. Yeah, I like chess. I don't know when we would get to play chess, but chess is great. On a scale of 1 to 100, how Asian are you? Not a fan of those kind of questions, but I'm Korean and I really like being Korean. Do you think a grade 9 student such as myself try to contact people on LinkedIn? No. If you're 9th grade, please don't go on LinkedIn to network. Stay on YouTube, stay on Instagram. Spend that time to get a great prom date. Listen to any podcasts? I don't listen to any podcasts like actively. I don't subscribe to any of them, but I listen to them as people send them to me. Where are you going to school later this year? No, I'm sorry. Correction. In October, there's a alumni weekend for my school that I'm returning to meet people. Wait, hold on. You going to get an MBA? Guys, correction. I'm not going back to school. As in, like, I'm going back to school. I'm literally going back to my school to visit. What are your thoughts on day trading? Be careful. I've never done day trading aside from that one GME day. I wouldn't do it if you're not sophisticated. What do you think about the finance crew selling scammy courses? I think they're terrible human beings, and they know exactly what they're doing, and you lure in college students that buy and pay thousands of dollars for things that are online, and they promise jobs on Wall Street, and that's just not feasible or happening. Don't buy those things, guys. When did you make a LinkedIn account? Like what grade? Sophomore year of college. Trying to rip some online Catan. Oh, hell yeah, Nick. Anytime with you. I don't remember the last time I lost in Catan, Nick. Better watch out, buddy. Any recommendations that are not touristy in New York City to visit? I am definitely not an NYC expert, but in what I've visited, Dumbo is great. It is pretty touristy. I love Brooklyn. Also very touristy, I know. I mean, New York City is so big, even if you do the touristy things, and even if you do the non-touristy things, people will be there. I would just try the touristy things, and there are still cool opportunities there. Michael B., biggest fear. Uncertainty. I'm a control freak to a certain degree. I don't like not knowing things. I like being spontaneous. I like going into scenarios that I might not know fully about, but I also don't like not knowing about my future. It's like a weird juxtaposition. Guys, just for the record, I think we're just going to skip the questions that I've answered before, just for efficiency's sake. So I'm not trying to ignore you in a mean way, but I just don't want to repeat the same thing over and over again. Let's see. Favorite music artists. I've been listening to Tyler the Creator and A$AP Rocky a lot recently. I think those two are my biggest go-tos recently. What are some good liberal arts schools to go into marketing? Schools not impossible to get in, please. I don't know schools that are good for marketing specifically. But I would look at, College Best and look at the best liberal arts schools. Manhattan is 21 square miles. Correct. Hey, Brian, should I be an RA in college? Jeremiah 18K. Assuming it's Jeremiah Cole. Being an RA is the best decision I've ever made in college. I love being an RA. If I could do any job in the world, I would be a college RA full-time forever. I don't think I can hack the IB hours lifestyle for sure. Any pointers towards similar high-paying finance jobs that have some decent hours? This is a question I'm getting a lot. Let me look into this. I don't know if there are any guys. Reality is there's no perfect job. If there was, everyone would be going for it. There is no job that has good work-life balance, easy to get into, makes a lot of money, doesn't require target school. Just doesn't exist. You just got to put in the work, unfortunately. Hi, I've been working at a small consulting firm for 2 years. Should I get a master in stats and work more before getting an MBA? If you're interested in stats, sure, but why not? I would work a couple more years and then get an MBA. Any advice you wish you had before entering your 20s? Great question, Mike. I actually wrote a blog post on it on bryanjun.com if you want to go check it out. Not necessarily 20s, but before I became an adult. I think something that I'm realizing recently is while it is important to maintain relationships at an active level, the people that you're close to right now, before you're 20, I guarantee you 90%, 95% won't be your friends, close friends in 5-10 years. And as you progress in life and as you build up your career, build up yourself, you're going to gain people that are more similar to you. And you're not sure of yourself before you're 19. I'm still not sure of myself when I'm 23. The people that I hang out with the most right now are definitely not the people that I hung out with the most 3-5 years ago. It's important, once again, don't get me wrong. It's important to maintain friendships. It's important to maintain relationships. But I think you shouldn't get too hung up on maintaining that perfect friend group because reality is people move on and you should move on too. Favorite Kardashian. She's not a Kardashian, but I would say Kendall. What comes to mind when you think about the state of Louisiana? Raising Cane's chicken. Matthew Kim. Hey, handsome. Hello. Is this the Matthew I know or is this a different Matthew? Either way, thanks for calling me handsome. That is the self-confidence boost I needed. I'm pretty sure quants make a ton of money with pretty low hours. You have to be a genius to get these jobs, though. Yep. That's the barrier to entry / skill set thing I was talking about. There is no perfect job that I think aligns skills, low barrier to entry, work life, and pay. Personality type. Assuming you're asking for MBTI, I am an ENFP, and I've been an ENFP forever. As in, I have never not been an ENFP ever, which is kind of crazy. But I've always been an ENFP personality type. You think too many people have MBAs? It could be hard to find jobs with it. Yeah, I've heard that argument before. I think with any recession, there's a raise in floor of academic qualification, but MBAs help in a network, and it doesn't hurt to have a network. It just depends. Do you have $300,000 lying around to spend? Can you do a CPA as soon as you finish your accounting degree? Yes, I know people that have done that. Can you do a CFA right after finance? Yep. I have friends who have also done that. What's your OnlyFans? I don't have an OnlyFans, Aaron. I don't think I'm attractive enough for OnlyFans, nor do I'm interested in selling my body or selling pictures of my body for money. Also, a city like Dallas. Rich, I don't know what this is a continuation of, but Dallas is awesome. Cody Campbell, how important is it to work at a bank with a big name as a junior? As important as you want it to be. If you're trying to go for top buy-side opportunities, very important. If you just care about banking experience, not very important. I'm an econ guy at a college ranked just below Vanderbilt. That's kind of vague. If I wanted to be competitive in investment banking, what are your recommendations? Should I double major in finance? Well, I still can. Sure, why not? If you're right under Vanderbilt, you're already at a good school. Just make sure you're a target school. Harry Pinkerton, hello. Should I attend WNL? If you have the opportunity to do so, and if you haven't just graduated last week, Harry, I was meaning to call you. Sorry, I didn't to congratulate you. But yes, I'm a big fan of WNL. Guys, as you could tell, I am a big fan of my school. I will do a little shout out for my alma mater. Is it the right term for it? I have a couple of my bros from my school joining the stream right now, possibly watching it at the same place, making fun of me. But Washington Lee is a great place. If you're interested in banking, definitely a great place. But you will have lifelong memories and lessons that you can't get anywhere else for a low cost of $250,000. What was your transition from high school to college like? It was weird. I went from Southern California to the South. I went from being a spiky hair earring guy to wearing, what's that brand called? With the whale. Of course, I'm blanking now. Vineyard Vines, but it was interesting. I liked it. I had a juxtaposition of a variety of cultures coming together. How'd you process your experience at your first job into figuring out what to do next? I thought about what I was good at. I thought about what I liked about the job. And I thought about what further skill sets I needed to get to my ultimate goal of running my own thing. Favorite drinks to order when you're out with the boys? When I'm out with the boys, I'm a big beer guy. I like IPAs. I like stouts. Not to sound like weirdly fratty and douchey, but and then this is kind of embarrassing, but I'm a big pina colada guy. I work on private M&A transactions all the time. Why would that not translate to working in IB? Jeremiah, if I recall correctly, you said you're an accountant. It's hard to transition from being an accountant to investment banking. Nicholas Watson, Harry Pinkerton, you should. Yes, I concur. WNL is awesome. Sorry if you answered this question already, but is it hard to get into IB, P, or HF from an elite boutique? No, Mike. Elite boutique is the GOAT of IBs. Why would it be hard? Can people join IB after wealth management internships? Yeah, if it's an internship. I've seen people do it, but you have to make a good case as to why you want to do that. What are some tips you have for super days? Have one with JP tomorrow. Best of luck. Don't get nervous. It's just an interview. Make sure you have your technical straight. Make sure you have ready questions or answers for why JP, why IB. Have your story straight. Have a clean suit. And just be ready to talk your mouth off about why you're the best. Is it okay to reach out to random people who didn't go to your school? I've never done that personally, but it's worth a try. I think people are open to talking, especially in this remote environment. Everyone likes to talk to everyone. Hey guys, just a reminder that I'm ending in about 12 minutes, but I'm continuing to go through these questions. I guess a little bit of self-promo. I do have a blog now. Go check out bryanjun.com. I just write my thoughts and be a bit more genuine. I think I'm a little fabricated on this channel, but on that, I'm genuinely sharing my thoughts. And then if you guys are interested, I have signups below for one-on-one sessions if you want some career consulting via Zoom. Reply from above. Vanderbilt is a semi-target school to my understanding, so I'd be a non-target. A bit of an unknown school. So suppose a non-target school now. MBA a must. CFA. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what track you take, but if you network enough well during undergrad, you might be able to avoid the MBA all throughout. Do you play any sports or lift? I lift as in like I work out every day. Sports-wise, I know kind of how to play tennis. I enjoy playing soccer even though I suck. I picked up pickleball recently. Not that I've only played it once, but I like it a lot. I think I like racket sports a lot. What is a genre of YouTube that you watch that you think twice admitting? Genre of YouTube that I watch that would be kind of embarrassing to admit. Honestly, I'm pretty vanilla in terms of what I watch on YouTube. I watch like political stuff a lot. Like I watch like Hassan Minhaj and also Ben Shapiro. I wouldn't say that's embarrassing. Has your Amarth Spider proven to be a good everyday car? Yeah, I love that car. Looking to buy my first car now. Yeah, I don't know what your definition of everyday car is, but it is the GOAT in terms of just like feeling cool, flat to the ground. The convertible part is phenomenal. I'm a big fan. Have a good night, Brian. Good night. Do you need to attend a top 10 MBA to break into IB as an associate? No, I've seen people from below top 10, but it's definitely infinitely easier if you have top 7. Yeah. The Watcher. Hello there. Hello. Account equity. Lamau. I wish there's like a reply directly feature to these chats because sometimes I don't know what they're referring to. I also, now I'm finally understanding, this chat is not as live as I think. Like there's a lot of like older questions that I'm responding to now. And then people are like, whoa, what's going on? Do you watch mukbang videos? Okay, I'll admit when I'm like really craving food sometimes, yes. And I can't do it. There are times I do it, but I don't watch it like religiously. And there's no one I watch particularly that I watch. Khalid, are you still doing one-on-ones? Yes, I am still actively doing one-on-ones. Just sign up using the Google form below. Or reach out to me via email at chatwithbryanjun at gmail.com. Is it easy to join IB from Masters at Columbia U? If you're talking about MBA, yes. Columbia obviously is a target school. Cryptocurrencies are on the rise. What do you think are some skills from traditional finance to land a role in this new space? I mean, it's so you can't project. There's no like fundamentals of crypto as of now. I would argue as the industry becomes more mature, I'm sure there are modeling things that you might need, but right now there's nothing that directly translates in my opinion. I'm still doing one-on-ones, yes. Have you considered any other careers like engineering, science, lecture besides? Yeah. During college, I considered a comp sci for a bit. I was pre-med for a bit. I thought about law. I thought about becoming a professor. My philosophy in life is there's always open doors. I've seen people switch careers drastically at age 40, 50. All doors are open to me right now. In your one-on-ones you offer, what we playing to? I'm not sure what that means, Richie, if you want to clarify. Your favorite K-pop band? Blackpink. I'm a big Jennie from Blackpink fan. Joining IB from a master's on econ and finance. That might be a little hard. I don't see many people doing that. Ever consider leaving the U.S. and moving abroad? Yeah, all the time. I would ideally like to live abroad for at least a year of my life. I don't know what that would entail. I think it's kind of a fear of mine because I know that it could be a setback, but I feel like it's one of those things that I'm going to definitely regret if I don't do early on. One thing that I'm just shocked at every time I do these things are how do people, and maybe I'm bad at using my stomach properly and talking, but how do people stream for hours? Like my neck is dead and it's been 52 minutes. Logan Paul or Floyd Mayweather. If Floyd loses, like that's just, I don't even know what to say. Am I personally, outside of like boxing, am I personally a Logan Paul fan? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Logan Paul. I think as much as he gets shit on, like I think he has done what many couldn't have done. But I really hope Floyd wins. Like, that'd just be embarrassing. Moving to Chicago for a summer internship. Chicago's dope. It's clean, relatively good cost of living, a lot of good restaurants. If you're looking for nightlife, Hubbard Street is the way to go. This has been wildly interesting. Peace out. Nicholas, always happy to have you. Text me if you're bored. Miss you, buddy. Chu, do you think people careers due to a mid-age crisis? Can you clarify? I think you're missing a word. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm an athlete. I'm able to play sports in uni while studying finance. From your experience, do you think I will be able to balance both? Yes, I know many lifelong athletes that have gone to banking. What has been your best investments, either stock and self? I would say this light ring that I'm using. No, I think my best investment ever is probably this camera that I bought more to just take pictures, and then I ended up using it for YouTube. They respond to 1/10 of the questions you do. Sorry, Richie, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm trying to, I hope I'm answering everyone's questions properly. Do people in IB play a lot of golf? Yeah, the partners definitely do. I play golf a lot. Floyd versus Paul is an exhibition match. Yeah, I know, which makes me mad. Floyd's going to hold back. Yeah, I mean, Floyd's doing this 100% for money, and he really wants to get into the internet money space, and he's going to keep fighting these internet meme guys as long as there's money. There's literally zero reason for him not to do it, other than like maybe pride. What are your principles in life? I would say as a man of faith to follow Christ and adhere to my faith. And then below that on a worldly level, I think trying to find happiness and points of fulfillment in everyday things, being good to my family and friends and taking care of my people. And then trying to be as not lazy as possible. Are you employed now? What's the range? I don't know what's the range means, but I am employed now. Yes, I work for a startup. He's talking about other streamers. Oh, okay. Yes, other streamers are not answering all the questions. I only have like 60 to 100 people watching at a time, so I have the ability to answer every question. What are your favorite albums of all time? Ooh, Life of Pablo, Kanye West, and Bentley's, Post Malone. How did you handle your first internship with barely any experience in finance? There wasn't really any finance needed. It was more just like PowerPoint cranking and listening to directions and sending emails. Do you think most people change their careers in their 40s due to midlife crisis? If you're saying, do most people change careers in their 40s? No. Do most people that do change their careers in their 40s change? Yeah, it's because of midlife crisis. What's the startup called if you're allowed to say? I'm not allowed to say. How do you think AI can be leveraged further in an IB setting? Maybe not an IB because professional services is about advisory and subjectivity, but definitely in a trading finance setting, sure. When you worked in banking, did you witness insider trading? No, I mean, we weren't really a publicly traded facing firm, but I've heard of cases definitely in the banking circle that's happened. Legal insider trading. I mean, if it's illegal, it's illegal. You see Nancy Pelosi do it every other day. Yes, sir. I have graduation hanging up on my wall. Yes, sir. Hot take. I think Life of Pablo is better than graduation. Incoming college freshman here. Your perspective advice on thriving in college. Anytime someone asks you to hang, just hang out. One of my biggest regrets is turning things down just because I was tired. Don't spend your days lying on your couch looking at your phone. Just go out, whatever it takes. Play spike ball, read more books, use every single college resource possible, listen during orientation and know what resources are available. Take advantage of everything. That time will never come back. 4 years of college, I think I've wasted so much time during it, and I'm trying to catch up now. Can an engineer graduate become an investment banker? A lot of engineers in banking. Rank these artists: Kendrick, Kanye, J. Cole. Oof. Kanye first. Kanye is like my role model. I love Kanye. Kendrick in terms of lyrical / rapping ability. J. Cole in terms of mentality, and I think he's just kind of sick as a person. Still a Star Wars fan. I don't see that Rex helmet. Yeah, the Rex helmet's at my parents' place. This is my place in Chicago. Not only just still a Star Wars fan, big Star Wars fan. Actively watching Big Bad Batch recently. Advice for introverts to thrive in finance, if possible. I have a video on that, actually. I don't really think you need to be an extrovert to thrive in finance. You just need to get the work done. Do you also read Korean books as well? If so, what books was your all-time favorite? I do read Korean books. Not like actively. I need to work on that. There's a book called, I didn't finish it, but I read like a third of it. It's Justice by Michael Shandell, but I read it in Korean. Do you ever fake smile in the corporate world? Is it annoying to you? I try to not to. I'm a pretty like transparent guy. I think one of the only redeeming qualities about myself that people would say is I am pretty unison in how I treat people. I don't think I really fake smile a lot. Top 3 Kanye albums. Life of Pablo, graduation, Jesus. How much accounting knowledge is required for analyst position in IB? 0 to get in. Just the basic technical level questions. What is the point of life if we all die? I ask that myself every day, Michelle. Every day. Does knowing CS not help in IB? Nope. Favorite restaurant in Chicago? Ooh, High Five Ramen or Monteverde. Rank these artists in terms of sanity. Kanye is definitely the most insane. Then probably Cole, then Kendrick. Bad Batch or Omega. Are you Republican or Democrat? I'm conservative. What was your biggest low and high point in IB? Highest was probably when I started and had full energy, and lowest was when I was about to exit. Thanks for hosting these. This is all very informative and also fun. Yeah, thanks, Adam, for tuning in. I do these every Wednesday. Guys, I have like 10 seconds left, and I'm probably going to sign off because my neck is starting to hurt, but I'll answer these last questions. Do you have an afterlife? Yes, I believe in heaven. I'm a Christian. Are a master's in financial engineering, financial mathematics, any good transition in finance? I'm sure they are, but if you're trying to get into IB, I would recommend MBA. Thanks for answering your question. Yep, Alinea is the GOAT, but it's very expensive and it's a Michelin star. When will you get a Bugatti? Never. 나는 당신이 여기에 모두를 주는 것을 매우 기쁘게 생각합니다. Yeah, that's a great Google Translate, but I got what you're saying, Julian. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. As always, I am here every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm Republican for the Republic. And I will see you guys next time. If you guys are bored, check out my blog at bryanjun.com. If you guys are even more bored, sign up for my live, my one-on-ones down below. But elsewise, I will see you guys in the next time live stream.